Jason.
Yeah, Jason.
All right.
Yeah.
This is Jason. Jason's great, and he volunteers a lot at the center, and we really are so grateful for him. So thank you.
Yeah.
I'm very awkward, so years ago, growing up, I was always the weird kid. I didn't know why. I just really liked comfortable clothes. And I wasn't like other girls, but I also wasn't like other boys. I still liked dolls, but I liked sci-fi. I didn't like sports, but I liked Hello Kitty. And so, and I just never quite fit in. And then I was living out in California with my ex, who was very, very conservative, and my anxiety got to where it was just debilitating. I got to where I wouldn't go anywhere. I didn't leave the house except for therapy. I couldn't go to an appointment and the store in the same day. I had to have a day in between to recover. It was just, and I was very isolated. All I had to talk to was the online community and my ex at the time. And I went to, in therapy one day, my therapist was like, I was talking about something, she's like, have you ever been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome? And I was like, she said that she saw just a sense of relief come over me. And I found the online community. And one of the things with the research, they were like, people with Asperger's tend to find gender norms arbitrary. And I was like, well, that explains it. And one of the things that they also said was, don't focus on things that, require a lot of energy but don't matter so much. I ended up breaking up with my ex. He was like, you're a liberal, I'm a conservative, I don't think it's gonna work. And I'm like, all right. So I moved back to Michigan, and I was really worried. I didn't know if I was gonna have a place to go. A childhood friend said I could live with her and her kids. Her kids were difficult to deal with. One of them would walk up to me and say, shut up, you have a beard. And I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I had tried laser hair removal to get rid of it because I thought it wasn't supposed to be there. And I felt, I didn't know I was trans then. I just felt uncomfortable and awkward, and I felt self-conscious. And then I ended up moving out, and then I decided to look up one day the Pride Center, it was the network then, and I went for the women's group. And I showed up, and I would show up about an hour early because I had to take the bus, and I would sit there and talk about my anxiety. And I ended up, after a few months, facilitating the women's group. And it was really, I started volunteering, and I found people actually kind of like me. And yeah, I remember one time in the women's group, I apologized for being awkward, even while facilitating. And one of my friends said, yeah, you're awkward, but it's not a problem. And so, I facilitated that from maybe about June-ish I started volunteering in the end of June. So maybe facilitating maybe about July through December. And about November that year, it was before Transgender Day of Remembrance, I was on the bus, I got off the bus, or I was on the bus, and someone said, have a good day, young man. And I was like, oh my God, that felt good, why? And up until that point, I had volunteering at the Pride Center. I was there about 4 or 5 days a week. Being on disability, I needed a schedule. I needed interaction with the community. I was afraid if I didn't go and do something every day, I was going to end up where I couldn't go to an appointment and the store in the same day. So I had to show up. I had to do something. And I got to interact with so many different people that had different ideas about sexuality, different ideas about gender. And by the time I looked in that mirror and saw a guy, saw a girl, saw a guy, saw a girl, I was like, I knew what it was. And my first thought was, I don't want to come out again. That was hard. And I was surprised how awkward it was to come out to even people I knew would support me. But I was just like, and I was riding in the car with Larry one day, and I'm like, I'm questioning my gender. He's like, okay. And I remember talking to Leslie, and I was explaining about looking in the mirror, seeing a guy, seeing a girl, and Leslie called it magic eye gender. And I was telling Leslie, I don't know how I identify. I don't know if I'm non-binary. I don't know if I'm a guy. I don't know. And Leslie said, you can still be a woman and be transgender, you know, and it took so much pressure off me. I was like, I have a lot of room to explore here. I have a lot of space to figure this out. And facilitating the women's group, it gave me the confidence to cut my hair short, to present more masculine. And, you know, I felt safe in that space. And then Transgender Day of Remembrance came, and it was a very somber day. All year I had seen these news articles about that year it was all transgender women. And it was hitting me really hard. And at first I thought, I'm just an empathetic person. I didn't even know if I was queer at the time. When I first came to the center, I didn't know if I was just, what if I want friends so badly that I've convinced myself that I'm queer? But it was the thing. It was just like, and I just felt safe in that space, and I felt safe being like, hey, I'm a guy. I felt safe saying, hey, I'm transgender. I'm safe, I'm queer. However it was I identified, it was okay. And all the weirdness that I was, and some of it wasn't that weird, and the stuff that was, it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's just part of my experience. It's just part of who I am. I've had the opportunity to do panels, to go out and talk about my experience. I've had the opportunity to go to participate in LGBT 101 trainings and Trans 101 trainings, where even though I was raised Southern Baptist and was really hurt by the church and now identify as atheist, I was going to churches and talking to church people and having them come up to me and hug me and thank me for sharing my story. And just being able to be who I was, and for the first time in my life really feeling like I'm valued for who I am, not for who people want me to be, not who people expect me to be. For a long time, I felt like I wasn't a whole person. I was just what my whole identity was based on someone else's expectations. Being a good Christian, being a good daughter, being a good sister, being a good friend, being a good worker. It was all built on what I was supposed to be. And now there's just, I'm not supposed to be anything. I'm just Jason. That's all I have to be.